as you can hear, it's still raining because apparently we like rain. I don't know. So anyway, we've got a pot of comfort food goodness cooking over here. And what I did was we took a sweet onion and diced it up and cooked it along with 4 turnips. Now, I know we already talked about turnips, and I know y'all aren't so sure you like turnips because nobody likes turnips. They're kind of like Brussels sprouts. Nobody likes them until you know how to eat them right. So what we did, the thing about turnips, I gotta move this off here a little bit because we're cooking a little too fast. Okay, so the thing about turnips is, see, we're just gonna move that over there. That's what I like about this Camp Chef stove, this Alpine stove. You got racks on both sides. You can get it away from the heat. You're cooking too fast. Move it off it totally. Whatever you want. These can be warming racks. They can be prep racks, whatever. Okay, so anyway, we're talking about our soup here. Turnips. I have a little problem here. Turnips get sweeter if you leave them in the ground until after there's a frost. They will get sweeter. When they're in season, like spring turnips and fall turnips, when you dig them and they're actually ready, they will have a peppery kind of flavor. I like that. So cooking those turnips and excuse me, putting some butter on them, they're awesome. I like them. But if you let them in the ground until after they get frosted, and I have to do a little checking. I think it's just maybe, I don't know, a couple of days until the tops wilt down. When the green tops, they get frosted, they end up wilting down. And they don't wilt as fast as some things do, like squash plants and whatnot. But they'll actually wilt down from the frost, a heavy frost. And when that happens, that plant knows it is no longer alive. And it sends everything down into the root. A turnip is a root crop. What you're eating is the root. And for some reason, that turnip, I guess there are actually starch and sugars in that turnip that get sent down into the root, and that turnip gets sweet. And they're awesome tasting. So what we've done is we've taken them and put them in this pot. I got to stir this real quick while I'm talking to you. We put them in this pot. We cooked a Vidalia onion, a sweet onion, and 4 turnips, 4 decent sized turnips between baseball and softball size. We cooked those in here, just in water. We didn't add any oil or anything else, just in water. And then we took that water, after they were done, we took them out. And we took that water, excuse me, and we took our part of our ham bone from Gino's ham that he gets from the railroad every year. And we threw it in here and we cooked it. And we took some of just the good meat off the ham and diced it up. And then I trimmed up the meat off the ham bone and we threw it back in here. And there's nothing else in here. Oh, we did take a bunch of asparagus and we cut them into small pieces, threw in some of the ham, and then we cooked them in the ham stock that we cooked the ham bone in a separate pot. And we're going to add that here because I don't want my asparagus to cook up to nothing. But I do want my soup to be thick. Now, rather than trying to cook liquid water, turnip water down into a soup, even though they do have some starches in them, we decided to add some instant mashed potatoes. You could, by all means, add real potatoes. It would be just as good, probably better, because real is always better. But we used instant because it was easier to carry here, where we've got to actually pack everything in. But Gino, can you actually come over here and get a shot of this pot?
I can certainly try.
What we're doing right now is we're cooking some of the liquid.
See if I can do this without blocking the light.
We have low ceilings here, so it's hard for Gino to move around. But yeah, I can't get the light.
Let me grab here.
Let's get a light a little closer. Okay, so what we've got here is you can see our pieces of turnip in there, which don't tell me yuck until you actually try it. And make sure you get them after they've been frosted. So going to the store and buying them, you're not going to know. But there's actually pieces of ham in here, and we have more ham to add. And this is getting just about where we want it. We want this thick. The only other thing I put in here was a can of canned milk, a can of Milnot, and some salt and pepper, of course. But I've got a bowl of asparagus that were and a little bit of ham that I cooked with the asparagus in that ham stock that we're going to dump in here. And we are going to have a heart-warming, foot-warming, soul-warming cup of soup here in just a little bit. Bowl of soup, sorry. Okay, so all we did was add our asparagus in here. And I did forget to tell you that the water that we cooked the asparagus in, after it was cooked, we went ahead and we dumped that water back in here because there are a lot of vitamins that you cook out of asparagus when you cook them. But it all goes out in the water. My grandpa used to drink asparagus water because all the vitamins are in there. And asparagus is really, really good for you. So we didn't want to lose that, and we didn't want to lose that flavor. So we dumped that asparagus water back into this pot after we took the asparagus out when it was as done as we wanted it. But what we did here just only for a couple of seconds was we went ahead and put the asparagus back in here to let it warm up. And we're getting ready to eat. And this is one thick and hearty
bowl
soup.
Of soup. That
and I'm going to pull
looks
this off of
amazing.
here because we got to save some for my dad and his wife because they need to taste it.
Okay, Leslie, it's your turn. Taste tester.
It's too hot to taste test. Good God. We're going to have to wait a minute for the taste test because it's insanely hot. It was just boiling, you know. I'm not that dumb. Still hot, but I'm going to talk to you just for a second. So let's go over what we did here. We had a whole medium-sized Vidalia onion that we cooked along with 4 turnips that we peeled good and cut up into pieces about this big, and we cooked that. And then we also had part of a ham bone, you could use ham hocks, and some ham that we had trimmed up and heated up, and then a whole bunch, like about this big, of asparagus. And they were small ones, but it doesn't matter, they all taste good. And you snap your hard ends off and cook them. Now, we cooked everything in the pot except for the asparagus because I didn't want it overdone, so I cooked it separate. But after I got done cooking it in the water that the ham and the onions and the turnips cooked in, I took that water and dumped it back into the pot. Now, after we did that, we let that cook over here for a while, and we added some instant mashed potatoes until it got about as thick as we wanted it to. And then we added 1 can of Milnot. And when that was about as thick as we wanted it to be, we threw our asparagus back in there long enough for the asparagus to get warm. And this is what we have. Gino, look at that bowl there.
Scrumptious.
You're blowing my
Smells
neck.
awesome.
We did add a little salt and pepper as we cooked it. Not a whole lot of salt because we had the ham, but of course I had to add some pepper to my bowl before I eat it. But we're gonna taste, and I am a soup
You get
lover.
to be the guinea pig this time.
Oh, wow, that's really good. Honestly, I love the asparagus, but the juice, like the white stocky portion of it, this honestly tastes almost exactly like ham and beans. Ham and navy beans, you know, white beans. It tastes almost just like it from the ham, I guess, and the starchiness from the potatoes and the turnips. But this is an unbelievable combination. The flavors are awesome. And I'll tell you what, on this cold, rainy night that was supposed to be snow, and it's not, and I'm not happy about it. We will find a snow little expedition yet.
Yes, we will.
You know, the winter is young, and if we don't have any here next year, I'm finding snow
We'll
because we're doing a snow camping expedition. It does not snow here like it did years ago when we were kids, but it's going to happen. But you guys,
We'll import it if we have to.
don't turn your nose up at turnips. Don't turn your nose up at asparagus. If you don't like either of them, you do what I said and take these turnips, find some, plant them yourself if you need to. Find a friend who has a garden that lets them get frosted, and then take those turnips and some asparagus, some small ones, some big ones. They all taste the same. It doesn't matter. And cook it all up with some ham and some potatoes, instant mashed potatoes, some sweet onions, throw in some milk, salt and pepper. That's all it is, and it's good. It's awesome.